this podcast is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. We do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. And welcome back to Breaking and Entering Brand Side, where we're interviewing the best on the marketing side of the world, people working directly for brands. Don't get us wrong, we love talking to agency folks. That's why we've interviewed over 200 ad agency professionals, and we're going to continue to do those and share those agency side stories. But not today. Today you get to learn from Tripp Wheat. Tripp is the director of sales at Professional Bull Riders, LLC. We call it PBR throughout the episode. So that's Professional Bull Riders, LLC, calling it PBR, where he plays a pivotal role in expanding the sport's horizon through strategic partnerships. So sales focus, strategic partnership, you're going to love this. His mission is to attract non-endemic partners, thus broadening PBR's appeal beyond its core Western sports fan base. You think, the traditional companies that have the Western values that make sense to sponsor and partner with Professional Bull Riders. He's working on expanding that, diversifying their sponsorship portfolio by engaging companies outside their traditional sphere. He's introducing the sport to a broader audience and creating new avenues for growth and exposure. So, Professional Bull Riders, LLC. This is where Wheat contributes to a globally recognized organization that has redefined bull riding as a premier entertainment sport. You think NFL, NHL, NBA, you should be thinking about professional bull riding. It is so freaking cool. I can't wait for you to learn about it. And, they host events in every major city, very similar to the PGA Tour. So he talks about how their marketing team has to locally kind of like specialize the market for where they're going to be at, including New York City and Madison Square Garden, and in Chicago, where I'm at. And he talks about this white dirt that they have, about the consistency and the safety of their events. It's really interesting. The attention to detail is something I want to point out as you're listening. And Tripp and his team at PBR, they have this dedication to providing the best possible experience for both participants and fans. So I want you to take a step back, get rid of all of your preconceived notions, and really open up and learn, even if you're not into bull riding. There's a lot to take away. He dives into the strategic initiatives that foster the sport's growth. Through his narrative, listeners, you will gain insight into cultural significance of bull riding, their endeavors, challenging stereotypes, how he's broadening their demographic reach, and to his end goal, which is to captivate a diverse audience. So what will you learn? You're going to learn about the necessity of passion, commitment, and willingness to learn, and how that resonates as invaluable advice for all of you with his work at PBR. You're going to love it. I promise. And you're going to want to reach out to Tripp. And you can do that on LinkedIn. We'll have his link in the bio. But that's all I got. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. And as usual, I am your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. Tripp Wheat, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How the heck are you today, sir?
I'm good, Gino. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. It is an honor, and certainly happy to join you today.
Heck yeah. Where are you at, Tripp?
I'm here in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, about 20 miles south of downtown Denver in the suburbs of Colorado.
Is it nice? Is it nice out today? I've never been.
It is unseasonably nice, Gino. We have had near 60 degrees for the last 3 days. We are set for about 6 inches of snow tomorrow, though. So it will give and it will take.
That's what I've heard about the Denver area. Sunny, but it can also snow, can heat up, right?
That's right. They say, I think the old saying is, and I've lived here my whole life, if you don't like the weather, wait 20 minutes and it could turn for the better.
There we go. That's interesting. What are we going to talk about today, Tripp? I think I think you might have one of the coolest companies that we've ever talked to on this show, Professional Bull Riders, LLC. You are the director of sales. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. I hope to tell my story a little bit, provide maybe a little bit of advice, a little bit of guidance, and Gino, hopefully learn something from you by the time this is all said and done.
Okay. Well, no promises. Unlikely, I would even say. But we got to talk about this sport, right? I think, right? People clicked on this episode, one, because you have a really cool name, and it kind of fits perfectly. I don't know. Did you plan that out? Did your parents kind of like plot out that you're going to be in this kind of industry?
It might be some sort of stick, twisted, demented, long-term scheme, Gino, that I was maybe not filled in on until about 18 months ago. But no, it truly is an incredible sport. And obviously we were talking before, and I don't have bull riding in my background. I don't have Western. I don't have livestock. Again, I grew up about 5 minutes away from where I am now in the suburbs of Colorado, and grew up playing very traditional sports, did not grow up with rodeo. My parents would take me and my sister to the stock show when we were little, but that's about it. But PBR is truly incredible. We we coined the phrase toughest 8 seconds in sports, toughest 8 seconds on dirt. And it really, truly is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a very simple sport. It is try to hang on to the bull with one hand for 8 seconds. Don't let any other part of your body touch. And if you do that, then you've been successful. But there are, again, as I've learned the sport, there are so many intricacies and so many different ways that the bull can move, that the rider can adjust, and things can, at the end of the day, it's livestock. And these are, 1,600-pound animals that you certainly are not going to overpower a 1,600-pound animal.
This is so cool. I'm fired up. I want to come see some one of these days. And
we are actually, we're 3 weeks too late. We were in Chicago about 3 weeks ago at Allstate. So next year, Chicago is one of our best markets. We go there every year. Little known fact about Chicago, it's the only place we use white dirt. If you ever see a PBR clip and you are saying, hey, it looks like they're on beach sand, that's because it's pretty close. We source our dirt from different places all over the country. And when we go to Chicago, that is the best dirt that we can get. So if you ever see a clip and it looks lighter, you'll know that's from Chicago.
Okay. And do the riders prefer that? Do the bulls prefer that? Is that dirt better, or is it worse comparatively to the better dirts you can get out west?
At the end of the day, and again, I am not getting on the bulls. I cannot give the first-hand experience. It's software to land on, or
sure.
But at the end of the day, we try to keep our dirt as consistent as possible. So,
right.
If Gino, you're getting on a bull in Chicago, and then 1 week later you're going to Los Angeles and you're getting on a bull there, and then you're going to Nampa, Idaho, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and continue on down the tour, we want our dirt to be as consistent as possible, and one that's safety for our animal athletes, for the bulls, and for the riders as well. Obviously, they're when they fall, they're coming down from 7-8 feet in the air. We want it to have a little bit of cushion. We don't want it to feel like you're landing on asphalt or concrete.
No.
So I can't speak firsthand if it's preferred, but we try to keep it as consistent as possible.
Interesting. That's so cool. I definitely got, and then I'll be actually in Boulder in I think at the end of this month. Actually, anything going on? When's the season? Is there anything going on soon?
Yeah, so we just did our lone Colorado event. PBR headquarters is down in Pueblo, even further south than I am, but our only Colorado events are at the stock show. So we were January 6th, 7th, and 8th this year, and we'll be back again next year. I don't have anything going on in Boulder, but we should get up there. That would be, we get Coach Prime on a bull, and there's obviously the time with Ralph.
Who's like the Michael Jordan of bull riding?
Yeah, so there's this guy, JB Mooney, who was, probably is right now, the greatest bull rider in history. And again, this is for me from my perspective of being here for, a little under 2 years. And now we have a guy, Jose Vitor Leme. Yeah, I mean, Jose has not been on bulls for that long. Played professional soccer in Brazil and found his way to bulls. And he will, I believe, 2-time world champion, been battling injuries for about the last year and a half. But I would say by the end of his career, Gino, he will probably be looked at as the greatest bull rider in history. And he's got a, an absolutely $1 million smile. He's great with the media. He's great with the cameras. He's just a humble guy. And that's one thing you see with our athletes is they're cowboys. And that's the cowboy culture is to be humble and, everything is team or safety first. And it's not a whole lot of look at me. And, you look at the NBA, you got guys holding out at the NFL for an extra 15 million. I mean, these guys it's a tough way to make a living and they are very committed.
They love it. They're born for it. So cool. So what is your job then, Tripp? What are you trying to do here? I mean, these guys are, risking their lives out here. What are you doing to support them and growing this cause?
Yeah. So I'm director of sales here at PBR. I'm a part of our strategic partnerships team. And at the end of the day, we are looking mostly for non-endemic partners. Again, we do really, really well in the Western space where we have Wrangler and Ariat and Boot Barn and go on down the line again, people that have to put their dollars into Western sports because that's where their core consumer is. We're trying to grow the non-endemic side of our business. So when you think about bull riding, we're trying to bring in partners that if you come to the arena and you see our LEDs or our dirt banners or shoot stickers, or you see it on CBS and CBS Sportsnet, you go, hey, wait, why are they sponsoring professional bull riding? And the story goes, and 77 million fans, and we're in every city across the country. And we hit A, B, and C and D counties. So we really hit a large population. And at the end of the day, that's the business that we are trying to grow.
Right. This makes a lot of sense. You say non-endemic, so non-native, or to help me understand this here, it's like not the obvious.
Yeah. So think about
partnership, right?
A telecommunications company, they sponsor every Big Four league and just about every single team, but and they're very synonymous with sports marketing and traditional sports marketing. And then you start seeing AT&T or a Verizon or some of these brands show big brands.
Insurance too,
companies.
right?
Insurance. Yeah. Insurance is absolutely huge. And our fans we have a ton of fans that have side-by-side vehicles and boats and RVs and recreational vehicles. And again, that's the thing that we're trying to educate is our fan base is very, very diverse. And we play New York City every single year. We sell at Madison Square Garden 3 nights in a row. And the crowd from Friday to Saturday to Sunday is so different. And that's just a great kind of microcosm of what PBR is, how we get everybody.
Yeah, I think there's inherent biases, right? Or like false perceptions. You think bull riding, well, you could, I have the picture of somebody in my mind that might like bull riding, but you're here to tell people that is just not the case. It's not true. It is diverse. There's multiple segments that a lot of these brands should be entertaining and thinking about how can we interact with PBR.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Again, it's how do we educate? And again, a large part of my job, the first step is education, because I'll get on the phone with someone and say bull riding, and they'll have this kind of negative preconceived notion of what bull riding is, who I am working for PBR, and who our fans are. And it's our job from there to educate, just like you said, to let it be known that we do have a very diverse fan base. And the first thing I say is, all right, you're in Chicago. We'll be at Allstate Arena here in 3 weeks.
Show up.
Yeah, come to the event.
Yeah,
come to the event, take it in, I always ask people to put 2 lenses on, put your fan lens on, bring your kids. If you have kids, it's absolutely the greatest thing ever. I get questions all the time of, hey, I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. Can I bring them? Yes, please. Because when you see the smile on your kid's face and you see their eyes light up, that's when the light bulb goes off and that's when it starts to click. So that's the first thing I say is come to an event, check it out. Put your fan lens on, also put your marketing lens on how you see other brands integrating within our shows and our events. And we're not all that, our assets are not all that different from traditional sports marketing, NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, MLS, going down the line.
Right.
Our assets are very similar. So that's the first challenge, is to get someone out to an event. And then it usually starts to click and usually starts to fall into place. I'd probably say, maybe 1 or 2 times I've sent someone to an event and received negative feedback. It just does not happen for our sport.
Right. I mean, I want to go. You got me hooked. So, so your job is to find these strategic partnerships outside of the bread and butter. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair. So there is, we're very much no stone unturned, as is any sponsorship team or sales team. with any team, league, or entity, but we truly will go after anybody and everybody. And again, it's just getting people out to the event, and our sales process can sometimes be a lot longer than others because it takes time. And someone has to learn the sport, figure out how they're going to integrate their brand, and then you go assets and contract and legal, and it can take a long time. And we've had deals come to life that we've worked on them for 2.5 years, 3 years, or our CEO will have had a long-term vision to work with someone for 10 years, and it can take time to develop. But no, accurate, definitely accurate.
And I'm looking now. JB Mooney, is that how you pronounce the
Yes.
goat's
JB
name?
Mooney.
And he's rocking in this first picture. I don't know if it's still accurate. I could see some logos on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see a Monster, Kawasaki, Ariat. Is that correct?
That is correct. Then what's interesting, Gino, PBR is very interesting. Our individual tour, Unleash the Beast, which is titled by Monster Energy.
Perfect.
JB Mooney comes to ride in, we'll use New York City as an example. When JB Mooney shows up, the logos that you're seeing on JB, on his helmet, on his chest, on his vest, on his chaps, everywhere, those are his individual sponsors. Those are not, yes, there is crossover. Monster is a league partner, if you want to call it that. And so there's crossover, but our riders are an individual tour. They're independent contractors, very much like NASCAR, and they are free to source their own partners. So we are, on the individual tour side, we're selling from a league perspective. If a rider goes out and cuts a deal, that they are free to put that on their apparel or represent it. When it comes to our team's competition, which is really
the whole thing
of PBR and bull riding and everywhere we're going, we own those assets. And I sit basically in a league position on that side, but also we've sold 10 franchises across the country, 8 franchises across the country. And they also have a sales team that are going out and selling that individual market. So there's a lot of, a lot of hands in, if you will, but everyone is extremely collaborative. And if you look at, again, if you were to look up, Jose Vitor Lemmy's Instagram, you're going to see his partners are 90% our partners.
Oh, there we go. Got it. So you're doing strategic partnerships for the league. And then is there a team that's doing general brand awareness and getting consumers engaged, increase the marketing for that? Is there do you sit with that team? Is that somebody you guys collaborate with? Is there that team?
Yes, there absolutely is. We have a live event marketing team. And again, we're tour based. So think about Ringling Brothers Circus or anything else, PGA, anything else.
PGA was coming.
Yeah, PGA. We're tour based. So we have to adapt our marketing. It's not, here I am in Colorado and spent time at Crocky Sports. The Denver Nuggets are just building a marketing plan for their DMA,
region,
the area that they can reach and that they have access to. We have to build that out everywhere we go. And when we come to a city, we're there for 2 nights, 3 nights. So we have to really build out that program. And so we work extremely, extremely close with our live event marketing team. We're also, we're owned by Endeavor. So 160 over 90 does a lot of our branding. And really helps out with our campaigns. And again, that's the beauty of having Endeavor kind of being above us, is we have all the resources that we could ever need at our fingertips.
Tell me about Endeavor real quick, because I'm not as familiar.
So Endeavor's the holding company for PBR, UFC, WME, IMG, OpenBet, IMG Arena, IMG Models, basically anything in the sports and entertainment space. A lot of it is Endeavor, same group that spun off TKO, that now holds UFC and WWE. So again, a massive entertainment conglomerate, and we get the benefits of using that network.
Like an agency holding company
exactly.
would potentially have a bunch of agencies. I get it now.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is very cool. What's your team look like? Is it mainly you and a couple other people?
Yeah, so there are...
You don't have to get into direct numbers.
Others in the exact same position that I am in, that we wake up every day. We want to grow the non-endemic side. And from there, we have our account management team. So we go and we sign a new deal with Anheuser-Busch, and then it gets kicked over to that team to fulfill it, bring it to life, and really make sure that everything that we promised in the sales process is actually happening. So we are about 7 people on our sales side, probably another in on the account management and activation side, and then 3 or 4 kind of people that lead our whole, we call it the revenue team here at PBR.
Why did you enter this job?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. It's like all great love stories. I received a LinkedIn DM from a recruiter with Endeavor. I was at PointsBet at the time, a company that was recently acquired by Fanatics in the sports betting space, and I'd been there for about 14 months. It was great. It was working on business development side, and we were essentially bringing the new deals to PointsBet. So we were getting called by every league, team, property, you name it, everyone that read a news article that said, oh, hey, sports gambling. Hey, let's call them because they're making millions of dollars and we're cutting deals. And it was great. But I just missed the true sales side of it more than anything, Gino. I was more on business development, which was great and it was awesome. But I really missed the sales side. It's problem solving and it's meeting people for the first time and trying to figure out, what are your objectives? What are our objectives? Where's the Venn diagram of where those meet in the middle and meeting new people? And so I really missed the sales side of it. Plus, it was something I'd never known before. I spent 7 years at Crocky Sports and saw the NBA, saw the NHL, saw the arena side, indoor lacrosse, and got to do that. Got to go to the brand side and be in sports betting, which was a huge passion point for me, and saw that, and then got to go to something new, which it was a new challenge. Again, as I said, I didn't know. I think the first time I met with the recruiter or on the interview, I said, well, what do you know about PBR? I said, I'll be dead honest with you. I don't know a ton about PBR. I know you have a phenomenal broadcast window on CBS that comes post or pre-NFL and probably brings in a lot of viewers, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. And again, as they said, that's okay. We can teach you PBR. We can teach you the sport of bull riding. If you understand sponsorship, that's what we need.
Ooh, that's a good lesson right there. You were honest. You didn't bullshit them.
No pun intended.
Didn't mean to do that. You didn't bullshit them, and like you were honest, and it's probably good for them too, because like you didn't know much. They can teach you, and you were willing to learn. I think that's, and you had all that foundational skills in sponsorship.
So that was, we talk advice. I remember from the first internship I ever did in my life with the Denver Outlaws, Major League Lacrosse, the guy there who, became a mentor and taught me. And one of the first things I ever remember learning is he said to me, never say no in this career. If you're going to pursue this and you want to work in sports and sports marketing where everyone wants to work, never say no to a task, whether that's making a copy or making a project or a presentation or running something to the other side of the building, because you just never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to end up shaking hands with or coming in contact with, and never say no. And I've really tried to take that approach throughout my career. And, my first full-time job was as ad sales coordinator with Altitude Sports. And same thing, Gino, I didn't know a lick about media. I didn't know anything about TV advertising. And again, had some very good mentors along the way that said, hey, take the job because you can learn. This is what people would kill for. This is the foot in the door. And then from there, it's up to you to turn it into what you want. But again, just taking that same philosophy of never saying no to something and never shutting a door before exploring it.
Well, how did you get that first job?
Yeah, again, crazy story. I was a senior in college. I got my degree in sports and exercise science about my junior year. I realized my brain did not work in the science way. It wasn't for me. I was in deep chemistry and exercise physiology, and I was lost. I'm that meme where everything's spinning around you and you just have no idea. And I was like, okay, this isn't for me. What do I enjoy? What can I do? I played sports all growing up. I played club hockey in college. I was like, hey, maybe I enjoy the business side of it. I picked up a minor in business. At the advice of my girlfriend at the time, my now wife. She said, hey, why don't you go to this career fair? It was being hosted by the Denver Outlaws. So I sucked it up. I went to this career fair, and we've all been to them. There's 50 tables and there's 75 people waiting in line for every one. And at the end of the day, you're walking up and you're maybe saying hi and saying your name and you're handing a resume, and where's that resume going? Into the stack of every other resume, and good luck. It's all about who you know. And again, I happened to see a gentleman who had a Denver Outlaws lapel pin on, and I just stopped him and I said, "Hey, do you work for the Denver Outlaws?" And we started talking, and we had a mutual connection. And I had known someone at Kroenke that, even crazier story, I'd caddied for earlier in the summer, and he was running sponsorship there. And I think he thought I was lying to him. I really did. He's like, "Yeah, okay." A week later, I got an email from him and he said, "Hey, it's great to meet you." I followed up. He says, "It's great to meet you. Our full-time internship positions for the summer are filled, but if you want to do a game day internship, I'd love to offer it to you. I needed an internship for credit. That wasn't going to fulfill it, but thought, yeah, why not? Why not get more experience?" Mm-hmm. Fast forward 1 week later, he called me. He said, "Hey, we have someone back out of a full-time internship. Do you want the full-time internship?"
Boom.
"What? Are you seriously? You're playing a prank on me? Like, no way." And so took that internship and loved it. Denver Outlaws won the Major League Lacrosse Championship that year, and continued on and did another internship at Kroenke Sports, and moved on from there.
Got it. A small world, right? So you were caddying for somebody, right? That was a mutual connection, or you caddied with somebody that knew somebody?
Yeah, caddied for a gentleman who had just taken the head of sponsorship role at Kroenke Sports. And again, growing up in Denver, I played hockey. I was a diehard Avs fan, a diehard Nuggets fan, and it was always a pipe dream just to intern there, let alone work there full time or do anything. And I just happened to meet him out at the country club here in South Denver that I was caddying at. And again, right place, right time. It's such a great lesson. And again, you can meet the people, but from there, it's all about how you continue to develop and learn. And everyone makes mistakes, and learning from those mistakes and just continuing to progress.
I love like that approach. And I get a little worried about the aspiring advertisers and marketers right now. It is the time of the year, as we're recording this, it is February 2nd. It's the time of the year that internships are about to open up.
Mm-hmm.
And it is stressful for me because I get a lot of student listeners reach out to me. It's the same spiel, and I love it. But for all the listeners out there, you're pushing it, right? You have to kind of start early, and you have to don't wait till February to reach out. Like, you should have been doing this your sophomore year, in the fall semester, or maybe even the summer, and start early and then keep up often. Maybe that's just for me. I don't know if you've seen that as well.
No, you absolutely nailed it. You should. Again, if this is something that you have identified in sports management programs and the master's programs, they've exploded across the country. There was maybe I didn't graduate college all that long ago, but there were maybe 4 or 5 programs, and all very competitive. And again, everyone was on the same playing field. But yes, if you are a sophomore in college, put your name in the hat, use your mutual connections, use anyone you know, a sibling, a cousin, a relative, a second cousin, a third cousin, a neighbor, anyone you know, and build that network. And that's something that, again, I'm guilty of it. I didn't start doing it until I was a senior in college, and I was behind the 8 ball, and the stars aligned, and I got very fortunate. But yes, if you're a sophomore in college, put your name out there, look for those internships, look for unpaid internships. I think a majority of them are probably paid now, but don't be afraid of an unpaid internship, because again, you never know where it's going to lead.
Like when you took that game day, that singular intern event, it seemed like, was I catching on that context clue correctly? It was like a one-off event type thing.
So it was for the season. It was just working games though. So there were
so it was multiple
7 or 8 weekend games, and you would show up for the game, and you would have some tasks, whether it's herding mascots or getting little kids on the field or whatever it might be. And
that's fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. You get to do a lot of really cool things. And I look back on my time, and you kind of become numb to it in this space and being a part of it. But you look back and it's like, wow, that was really cool. I mean,
meaningful.
Yeah. People would kill for that experience. And it's just another thing on internships. The biggest thing I learned is every single day of your internship is a job interview, because when a full-time job opens up, it's in an entry-level position. Where are you going to look first? Someone you know, someone that you can say, hey, I can count on Gino. I know that Gino, if I give Gino a task, he or she's going to get it done, and they're reliable. It just cuts off some of the onboarding and getting familiar. So every single day is is your internship. It's a funny story. When I was an intern at the Outlaws, our office was myself and one other gentleman, and our office was kind of disconnected from the main office. And it was all a part of Sports Authority Field at the time, now Empowered. But I was there and the door to our little office was open. And, me being the young guy that I was and didn't know much. And I had my feet up on the desk. And sure enough, the guy who was running the Outlaws and gave me the internship. He saw me and he didn't say anything. And about 3 days later, he pulled me in his office. He said, "Hey, just a piece of advice. If you're going to put your feet on the desk, shut the door." He's like, everyone is working. That's a bad look for you. That's a bad look for me. It's a bad look for the organization. And that's the last time I made that mistake, Gino. So I shut the door. No, I'm just kidding. I took my feet off the,
counter, shut the door. I love that. Hey, yeah. I mean, those are scary moments, but they definitely.
I thought for sure I was done. I'm gonna have to go off and I guess maybe pursue that physical therapy degree. Then I was thinking about once upon a time, but no, it all worked out. Again, everyone makes mistakes, and as long as you learn and shut the door next time.
My first month here at my agency, I run the calendars. I do internal and external comms. And I got a little cocky early on. I was like, I'm just going to do this task real quick. And I ended up messing the calendar invite, resetting it. And it was a daily calendar hold for 12 o'clock for a lunch hour. And I reset it for like the year. And instead of it like being all one, it like sent 50 to like 60 individual emails to everybody in our office, all back. So I was sitting there. I sent them like, oh, I did it. And then another ding happened and all the computers to my right started dinging and then they dinged and then it dinged.
And it kept going.
And I was like, well, I'm probably going to be done here, but nobody cared.
It was great to know you guys. I really enjoyed my time. And thank you for
nobody freaking cared.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And that's the thing that you learn is, and again, I think it's great to, you don't want to feel like you're walking on eggshells, especially when you're getting going. You want to be confident. You want to kind of feel like you belong. But there's a learning curve, and I still learn every day. I'm sure you're still learning every day, and that can be a huge part of it. And I'm sure that's probably the last time that you made the calendar mistake.
No, yeah, exactly. It just takes those and everyone. Sometimes you'll be confident, you'll be coasting for a while, and you're like, yeah, I've been crushing it. And then boom, another little thing like that happens, and it just brings you right back to life. It's good. I guess I want to take these last couple of minutes now and just kind of like really hear about specific advice. I mean, obviously being personable and good with people, we know the fundamentals of this career route that you have. Networking, great communicator, but what else? Like, what else do we need to be passionate about to go into your field? And in whether it's in sports marketing or professional bull riders, how do you be good with sponsorships and acquiring new sponsorships?
I think you have to be committed. It's very easy, and you have to be 2 feet in. You can never be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You have to be committed because it's so easy to tell when you get on the phone with someone and either they're pitching you or they're telling you about their product or their league or their entity, and they're just not really with it. You can tell, and you have to have passion. And I say all the time, you do your best selling and you do your best sales work when you're passionate about your product. And whether you're selling PBR or the NHL or tech software or whatever, you have to be passionate about that and you have to be committed. And at the end of the day, it's a grind. And I see it all the time on LinkedIn, and people think sports marketing and working at the PBR, or the NHL or the NFL or a team or minor league, they think it's glamorous and it's sitting courtside and on the glass or above the chute. It's really not. I mean, that's such a small piece of the pie. And you really, truly have to love what you do to wake up and be committed to it every day. So again, the 2 things that I always go back to are commitment and passion. If you have those 2 things, that everything else can kind of be built around that. And you can learn assets, wherever you are, and different clients and different fields and different categories. But the end of the day, you have to be passionate about it and you have to be committed to what you're doing are the 2 biggest things that I'm learning every single day. And those are 2 things that I always go back to.
I love it. How can people find out more about you, Tripp, if they want to connect with you, ask you any questions or learn more about professional bull riding?
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty standard. I'm on LinkedIn. That's about my only social media. I wish I knew, Gino, what exactly my
I'll look it up right here.
was.
Please
But
hold.
it's a pretty unique name. I don't think there's a whole lot of Tripp Wheats out there.
TRIPPWHEAT.
Yeah, 2 P's. I get it all the time. I get emails back with 1 P or all kinds of funny spellings. But I'm on LinkedIn. Thank you, Gino. I appreciate it, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you.
Rock and roll.